Good evening to you and welcome to ITV News. This is Monday night's calendar.
Hello there, thanks for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
A1 crash. 17 football fans are injured in a minibus accident in West Yorkshire. Police are still trying to find a car thought to be involved.
I think anybody who's seen the pictures and the video of the wreckage, if you like, can see that it has been incredible that nobody has been more seriously hurt.
Flood misery 6 months after Storm Babette, the residents still battling to get back into their own homes.
One of the reasons we took a caravan is we thought we'd be back in the house a lot sooner than this. We thought we'd start repairs back to property straight after Christmas, and it's April, we're still not being paid out now.
No ID, you can't get in. The warning to millions of potential voters in next month's local elections.
And fire heroine, the 6-year-old who alerted her mum to billowing smoke, saving the family from a fire which wrecked their home.
First tonight, investigations are continuing into a crash on the A1 at the weekend, which injured 17 people, including those on a minibus which overturned in the collision.
7 people suffered serious injuries. It's understood one car which may have been involved has not yet been found. Well, Ben Bason is near the scene of the accident in Darrington for us this evening. Ben, just how serious was this crash?
Well, Michael, it was certainly very serious. As you can see behind me, the A1 is back flowing freely tonight. But on Saturday, the northbound carriageway was closed for more than 7 hours. There was an air ambulance that landed here, and Yorkshire Ambulance Service said it was under extreme pressure as a result of its response. Well, of the 17 football fans from the northeast who were on board that minibus which overturned, the majority have now been discharged from a hospital. And as Greg Easthill now reports, many are feeling blessed that this crash wasn't any worse.
This mobile phone footage capturing the scale of the emergency response to the crash which happened on Saturday evening close to Pontefract on the A1. Dozens of police and ambulance crews deployed to the scene.
I've never seen that many.
And these drone images showing the South Shield supporters' white minibus at the roadside, badly battered after rolling across the carriageway with much of its glass blown out. One of those on board had apparently been among the first to call 999 after himself being thrown through a window before standing up and helping others lift the vehicle to free more passengers. Lee Picton from the club this morning telling me he's spoken to many of those on board who've described in frightening detail their ordeal.
A lot of them have described it like being in a human washing machine. Obviously the vehicle is overturned a number of times, and you can only try to imagine how they felt physically and mentally.
And looking at the wreckage, it is almost extraordinary to think nobody was much more seriously injured.
It has been incredible that nobody has been more seriously hurt, and I know that feeling is obviously felt most by those that have been in the crash, who themselves feel incredibly lucky to, in some cases, come away relatively scot-free.
The crash closed one of the country's biggest motorways and backed up traffic for miles. It's emerged among those diverted was the coach carrying the first team players.
The team bus was only a matter of minutes behind, and then when news started filtering back, a few minutes later via social media to some of the players and the staff, it created a very, very sombre atmosphere. I'm sure you can appreciate on the team bus. So it was a really strange one.
In messages on social media, survivors have thanked the emergency services who came out to them. Physically safe and sound, thoughts already turning now to helping limit the emotional scars after somehow getting out of what happened here alive.
Well, tonight we understand that 15 of the 17 people who were injured in this crash are now recovering at home. The 2 who were still in hospital were kept in with broken bones, we're told, as a precautionary measure. Meanwhile, the police are still trying to trace a third vehicle which they think was involved in this crash, a white car which they still haven't identified. They're urging anyone who witnessed what happened or who has dashcam footage to get in touch.
Yes, extraordinary that more people weren't hurt. Ben Bason live by the A1 in Darrington for us this evening. Thank you.
6 months ago this week, Storm Babette barrelled across our region, bringing serious flooding, causing untold damage when water poured into people's homes and businesses.
Yes, the cost of storms across the country ran to a staggering £350 million, with 36,000 individual claims.
But now, half a year since the waters receded, there's a rising sense of frustration among those in the communities like Catcliffe as they battle to get back into their homes. Helen Steele reports.
It's 6 months since this rescue in Catcliffe. Residents caught out by the sheer force of Storm Babette, which took just hours to overwhelm flood defences by the River Rother. Back then, Chris Lloyd's driveway was completely submerged. Today, the water's gone, replaced by evidence of the damage it caused inside. What have you had to do in this room?
Well, it's been completely stripped back to brick, like a rebuild.
No stranger to floods, Chris is still nowhere near moving back in.
It's been an absolute nightmare. You just can't get all the stuff. I mean, stairs were forever to get, and that held up the job massively trying to get us new stairs because they were all rotten. They'd been through 2 floods. We didn't replace them in 2007. 2023, they were no good. We couldn't keep them.
Chris and others who have insurance aren't eligible for charity grants. So we're 6 months on now. What help have you had?
We've heard from nobody. The only people that's helping us is the insurance company. Council never gave us a meeting. Environment Agency have never said, we can do this, we can do that, we can make it less. Nobody spoke to us, they just avoid us and ignore us.
Well, just round the corner from Chris's house, this street is still like a caravan site. Residents having been forced to move out of their homes, some still battling to get any money to start rebuilding their lives. Donna Coleman is still battling with her insurance company and says the stress of working and living here is taking its toll. Did you ever think you'd be still here?
No, one of the reasons we took a caravan is we thought we'd be back in the house a lot sooner than this. We thought we'd start work repairs back to property. It's April, we're still not being paid out now.
The Environment Agency says teams have been monitoring levels here and that flood defences worked as expected during Storm Babette. But as Rotherham Council's also claimed, it said last October brought unprecedented rainfall, a month's worth in less than 3 days. With unpredictable weather continuing, Donna says extreme weather might have to mean extreme action.
What else could possibly be done? And it's just when you see the weather like this, in April, it's a reminder of this, it feels like this potentially could happen again a lot sooner than we'd expect. And I think they need to think about whether this estate gets knocked down and we replace somewhere, but I can't see that happening.
For now, Donna can only hope to wipe away memories of the past by rebuilding her own home. Helen Steele, ITV News in Catcliffe.
Well, Kerry's with us now, and it wasn't just Catcliffe, was it? Chesterfield, Retford, Newark, huge swathes of South Yorkshire, North Derbyshire, North Notts, affected by that deluge 6 months ago, but it feels like we've not really had much let up since.
Yeah, it even feels like the weather's thrown everything at us just today, but whether it comes in the form of showers or longer spells of rain, it has rained pretty much at some point in the day, not just this month, not just the last 3 months of this year. Last year we had wetter than average 2023, but if I show you this chart just from South Yorkshire and North Yorkshire as an example, 10 months in a row for North Yorkshire. Since July last year we've had higher than average rainfall, and for South Yorkshire the last 8 months. So there doesn't seem any let up, and if you think that the last sort of March, April, May, our 3 predominant spring months, should be the driest of the whole year, and we're already wetter than average, it's not looking good as we head into our summer months when we get the different downpours, but in turn we get the downpours with the sunshine. So We need a dry spell, whether it's sunny
what about
or
this
dry or
week?
not.
Any dryness?
Well, I
coming?
hinted last week that high pressure is looking like it's coming in from the west, and I do think it will. And certainly by the end of the week towards the weekend, we're hoping that we'll get a drier spell of more than 1 or 2 days, which we all need for various reasons that we talked about. So hopefully that will happen. I can't promise the sunshine or the warm temperatures, but hopefully dry, and that's what we need.
OK, thank you. Of course, you'll have the weather forecast later on.
I will indeed, yeah.
Thank you.
OK, do stay with us, because still to come with all the weekend sport, plus what you should do to make sure you can vote in May. Don't get caught out.
But first, a service was held in Sheffield this afternoon to mark 35 years since the Hillsborough Football Stadium disaster. Flowers and tributes were laid at the memorial today to remember the 97 lives lost in April 1989. The supporters were caught in a fatal crush during Liverpool's FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest at Sheffield Wednesday's ground. The tragedy remains the biggest single loss of life at a football match in this country. An inquest jury returned a verdict of unlawful killing in 2016 after a 2-year hearing.
Major changes to bus timetables and stops in Bradford came into force today as work to upgrade the city centre continues. The Bradford interchange is also still closed after damage was discovered back in January. The council says efforts are being made to minimise disruption.
A ballot on prospective strike action by members of the University and College Union opened at Sheffield Hallam University today. The union says there are plans to axe 225 academic jobs and have criticised spending on building projects. The university says 120 risk of redundancy letters have been issued and that compulsory redundancies will be kept to a minimum.
Now, have you got a valid passport, driving licence or perhaps an OAP bus pass? Because if you don't, you might not be able to vote in the 2nd of May local elections.
I haven't got the bus pass.
Just yet, just yet.
Not yet. But what about the 870,000 people in the Calendar region who don't have any acceptable form of ID? Well, you can apply for a free voter ID document, but you need to be quick. You've only got a week left before the deadline. Kevin Ashford explains.
To make sure your vote counts in next month's elections, you'll need to do a bit of preparation if you're planning to mark your ballot in person. Photo identification is now required for voters at polling stations. Last year was the first time this rule was in place, and around 14,000 people across the country were turned away from voting because they didn't have an acceptable form of ID. Sarah Norman is the person in charge of overseeing the May elections in Barnsley.
We were pleased that the numbers who couldn't vote was quite small. We've got something like 185,000 electors in Barnsley, so 37 people unable to vote is a small number. It's still 37 people too many, and I'd like to see that number get down to 0.
Among the forms of ID that will allow you to vote in person are a UK passport or a driving licence, a disabled parking blue badge, or an older person's travel card or bus pass. The sort of documents that won't be accepted are a young person's travel card or any form of student ID. If you haven't got one of the accepted forms of identification, you can apply online for free for what's known as a Voter Authority Certificate, and that'll be valid indefinitely. But beware, the clock is ticking, as the deadline to apply is next Wednesday, the 24th of April. You'll also need to be registered to vote before applying for a certificate, and the deadline to do that online is midnight tomorrow. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
So now you know, don't you?
Yeah, don't get caught out.
No, don't. OK, you're watching ITV Calendar, and the ITV Evening News continues here at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Lucrezia Mellerini.
Coming up, Israel's allies urge for calm after Iran's unprecedented attack on Saturday. More than 300 missiles and drones were launched at Israeli soil. We'll have the latest as the country considers its next move amid fears of escalation. Also tonight, Trump in the dock. The former president's long-awaited hush money trial gets underway, the first time that a former or current US president has faced a criminal trial. And how one schoolgirl's quick thinking helped save her entire family. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Certainly will, and we'll have more from that family in North Yorkshire later in this programme as well. Now, time for some sport and more twists and turns in the Football League.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, Chris is with us in the studio, and another crazy weekend.
Bonkers, isn't it? Yeah, crazy. One thing we can say for sure is that Sheffield United's chances of staying in the Premier League are all but gone after defeat to Brentford, but the battle to go up and stay up in the Championship, well, it rages on. Once again, none of the top three won, which brings Southampton in fourth back into the playoff picture. As we can see, Leeds in third, a point off those top two spots. That's after they lost for the first time at home this season, 1-0 to Blackburn Rovers.
Think about the last two home games. We've played so dominant, created so many chances, created so many set pieces, brought us in so many good positions. Can't ask and question the workload and the desire of my players, not the tactical work. But we didn't put the ball into the net, and that's the reason why we lost this game.
Well, at the other end of the table, it's just as tight. It's not looking good for either Huddersfield or Sheffield Wednesday, who join Rotherham already relegated below that dreaded line. Wednesday squandered a lead given to them by Liam Palmer to draw with fellow strugglers Stoke, whereas Huddersfield also took the league at Bristol City, only to concede a contentious penalty 10 minutes into stoppage time. Former Terrier Naki Wells biting the hand that once fed him to deny Town the all-important win. Now, 18-year-old Fabio Giallo scored his first league goal to give Barnsley a 2-2 draw with Reading. The Tykes still in the League One playoffs, but not in great form at all. Mansfield Town's 4-1 win at MK Dons means they'll be promoted to League One tomorrow if they beat Accrington. Manager Nigel Clough said it was the Stags' best away performance of the season.
Elation, jubilation and relief that we've put ourselves in the position that we have. I just wish that in some ways we'd have played that game against Accrington on Easter Monday, and if we'd have got a draw then we would have been over the line on Saturday. But we have a couple of opportunities to do that this week in front of our home fans.
Now check out this cheeky flick from Owen Bailey that helped Doncaster to an 8th straight win, 4-0 over Accrington, which means they're now just a point off the playoffs. Whereas you suspect Bradford's run of good form has come just too late for a playoff push. They won 2-1 at Salford, and Harrogate too will need snookers to make the top 7 after a 2-2 draw at home to Sutton.
Getting to the sharp end of the football season, Chris, but what about the rest of the sport?
Yeah, mixed fortunes for two of our rugby league teams from West Yorkshire in the Challenge Cup. Castleford's hopes of a trip to Wembley are over after a defeat to Wigan, but Huddersfield kept alive theirs with an impressive win at Super League leaders Catalans. The Giants were in control throughout, running in 5 tries in a 34-6 win and setting up a semi-final with Warrington.
We've been slowly kind of building through the season, and we were confident coming here. We're always pretty confident. We like the weather. It suits the way we want to play. And I thought the boys were outstanding today. A real top team performance against a real tough team against Catalan.
Meanwhile, in the Women's Challenge Cup, both Leeds and York are through to the semis. The Rhinos beating Warrington by 70 points to 10. They'll play Wigan for a place at Wembley. York will take on St Helens. The Sheffield Steelers comfortably made it through to next weekend's playoff final weekend in Nottingham with a 13-5 aggregate win over Fife. They'll be hoping to win a 3rd ever Grand Slam of League Cup and playoff titles, and a first since 2001. And Leeds cyclist Tom Pidcock, an Olympic mountain bike champion, enhanced his reputation on the road, winning the Amstel Gold Race, one of cycling's spring classics. Just before I go, cricket result, Yorkshire have drawn with Gloucestershire down there in Bristol.
Good stuff. Chris, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Thank you. He's on it, isn't he?
He certainly is, absolutely. And I finally tonight, the remarkable courage of a 6-year-old girl whose bravery saved the lives of her mum and siblings after fire broke out at their home in North Yorkshire.
Yes, it's an amazing story. The youngster woke up her mum, who was asleep on the sofa, before they all escaped the fire at their home in Rickle. The family has now moved to temporary accommodation, and Lisa Adlam spoke to them earlier this afternoon.
Well, this is 6-year-old Olivia, whose bravery and quick thinking really did save the day earlier this month, and also saved her mum and her baby brother and sister. And Laura, you must be so proud and so relieved at what Olivia did.
Yeah, I'm really proud, really proud.
And so describe to us what happened.
We'd been playing in the garden with my mum and the other three, well, all three children. And then Olivia wanted to go play next door and my mum was leaving to go to work. So it was the kids' nap time anyway, so I took the babies inside and obviously we all got snuggled up on the sofa, as you do, and obviously they nodded off, so did I. Olivia, obviously, before we'd obviously gone inside, she'd gone next door to play in the back garden with her friend. And then obviously Olivia saw what she saw and did what she did. And it was just crazy.
She spotted the flames and she came running into the house shouting, you were shouting, "Mummy, Mummy, wake up, get the babies out." That was so brave of her.
It was really brave, yeah. Obviously, when Olivia saw the fire, it was next door in the back bedroom. And it had, there was obviously smoke coming from underneath our tiles on the roof because obviously it was spreading through the loft. And obviously that's when Olivia ran. And obviously her friend's mum, who was obviously looking after her at the time, ran with her, like behind her, trying to catch her to stop her from coming, and everybody in the street was like, "Stop, don't go in," sort of thing. But she did, she just came in, because nobody thought we was home, because my partner had taken the car to work that day. So...
And you say there that it spread from next door, and it spread quickly, and it's destroyed your home.
Day, yeah, so it came straight through the loft. It obviously went into the girls' bedroom, which was adjoined to his bedroom, the bedroom that went on fire next door. And it collapsed, obviously, with the water and everything, and the smoke damage, all the ceilings upstairs, everything's collapsed. It's not safe at all.
And so you're here temporarily, but you do have well-wishers who are raising funds.
Beds, mattresses, bedding, towels, everything you can name, somebody's offered to pay or buy and donate. And then obviously a work colleague, she set up a GoFundMe page, and I think at the moment it's over 4,000.
And of course, most importantly, you're all thankfully okay. You've got each other, and Olivia, you are one very brave little girl. I know you're much more interested in your toys, but well done.
You've been at school all day, haven't you? So you're just happy to have the toys back. Are you okay, darling?
One very brave girl. Well, thank you very much, Laura, for sharing your story with us here on Calendar.
Thank you.
Oh, well, our best wishes to Laura and the family. And Olivia, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I know she didn't say very much, but, you know, she's clearly very, very grown-up little girl.
Absolutely. OK, let's take a look at the weather now. Here's Kerry.
Good visibility on the horizon. TIRI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Yes, it was a lively one out there today. It was cold, it was wet, it was windy, and it was also wintry first thing, especially over higher ground. This was Belden Moor first thing this morning, hanging around 1 degree Celsius. And yes, this was Glenbeck's front of house first thing, but 15 minutes later, plenty of sunshine, and that's the way things have gone today. That initial spout of rain pushing its way southwards quite quickly, and then behind it, the mix of sunny spells and some very heavy showers containing hail and sleet, and those strong and gusty winds. And now those strong winds stay with us during the course of this evening until around 10 o'clock. And still some showers, but as we head through into the second half of the night, it will become drier and clearer inland, but still the risk of strong winds and showers remaining out towards the coast. It's a colder night. We should be frost-free, but down into the low single figures, so certainly a chilly start tomorrow. 6:02 and 8:11 are your sun times as we head into Tuesday. Blustery with showers out towards the coast first thing in the morning. West best for sunshine. Into the afternoon, hopefully many places will be dry, but we've still got that cold wind from a northerly quarter, pegging back the feel of the temperatures on the thermometer, not quite making the average. Add on wind chill, especially out towards the coast, it really will feel quite cold, but pleasant enough at any sunshine, and that's the way things go as we head through into Wednesday. Touch of frost maybe first thing in rural spots. Again, the temperature's struggling. Again, a mixture of sunshine and blustery showers, and then this little feature coming through overnight. And then as we head into Thursday, probably mostly dry. Over the coming few days, the temperature should recover a little bit, lighter winds and the emphasis on mostly dry conditions.
TIRI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go. I've actually loved today's weather because it's just basically been weather. But do you know what?
Kept you busy.
Yeah. But do you know what else I love and what season it is? bluebells. Check this out. We've got some beautiful bluebell shots.
My
Oh, wow.
favourite.
I love
There
that.
they are.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I managed to get to Benningborough Hall and saw the bluebells at the weekend. It was amazing.
Absolutely gorgeous. And there's only about 6-week window, so get out there and take some photos.
Yes, a reminder that it's still spring.
Send us your photos, do.
That's it from us. Good night.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.